Hello my friends, and welcome back to Ration Nerd, where today we are absolutely getting into another ration from the nation of Mozambique. Last time we got into a Mozambique police ration. You should really check that out. I also give a little bit of background and history on Mozambique on that video. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do. It was pretty damn good. So I am redunculously excited to get into this ration. I had an excellent time doing that ration from Mozambique. And aside from the fish item I got in the Mozambique ration, I pretty much loved everything. It had sweetened condensed milk. It had absolutely rip-roaring bitchin' coffee. And it was just a goddamn good time. So I am looking forward to the military version. So I'm hoping I'm going to get some coffee and some sweetened condensed milk and some other shit. But if you want some other shit, you know what you could do for this guy. You could absolutely hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and talk to me in the chat. It is always a great time to hear from you guys. If you didn't know it, I run a Patreon channel, and on that Patreon channel, every month I give away a ration to one of my Patreon members. Just ask those guys over on Patreon. They get rations from me all the time. And the ration that will be given away in the month of April is this Spanish individual emergency ration. This may be a little guy, but it is absolutely awesome on the inside. I'm actually kind of jealous to whoever gets this. You're going to get the really cool tin and the other cool contents inside. And since this is a small ration, I'll pack a lot of ration extras in with this giveaway. But this month, we are going to do this Spanish individual emergency ration, which I happen to think is the best emergency ration, at least I've seen to date. Anyway, with all that horse shit out of the way, this ration ought to be a hell of a lot of fun. Now, I will disclose to you that Customs opened this. I have not. So there could be a missing item or two, but ever since I got this, I literally have just been sitting on it and waiting and praying that everything is inside of the box, because Customs are absolutely awesome. Right here on Ration Nerd, we're sending you a double dose of love. So together, we're going to figure out if you are a soldier in Mozambique in the Mozambique Armed Forces, what exactly are you being fed for a 24-hour period if you're issued this ration? Hell if I know. Let's find out together. So let's slide that off to the side. I do love this camo pattern on the box. It is absolutely awesome. So let's see what you get inside of this box of yumminess. There better be sweetened condensed milk and coffee. We do have a component list. We will get to translating that if we absolutely need to. And right off the top, we have an Esbit stove. We have 2 or 3 fuel tablets, a pack of matches, not too shabby, some destructions in there. Lord knows we don't need those. And we have a cutlery set that seems to be, well, let's just go ahead and dig into it because we only appear to have one cutlery set. That is right on par, honestly, with the Russian super thin, super brittle plastic flatware, but you get a knife, you get a spoon, and you get a fork. So there is that, and you get a napkin to go along with it. That is really thin. You're definitely not wiping your ass with that unless you want poke through. Poke through is bad. Ask me how I know. But that is a pretty thin, papery kind of napkin. Not very soft or cushy, but hey, I guess it is for the military. But they still need to be able to wipe their mouth and their nose and their butt. Flashbacks, hells yes. We have 200 mils of peach nectar, which is absolutely awesome. Banging. I love me a little juice box in a ration. That's absolutely awesome. Let's keep on the juice box train here. Which one do we get this time? We have a multi-fruit nectar, which could be oranges, peaches, grapes, bananas, apples, the whole 9 yards, put in one little juice box for your sipping pleasure. That does not at all look like sweetened condensed milk. Ah, man. So we got 2 packs of instant skimmed milk. Kind of got gypped on this one. The police ration had sweetened condensed in it, but at least I do have a way to lighten some coffee or make myself a little glass of milk. That's not happening. We're definitely putting that in the coffee. We have 2 packs of powdered milk, which does still seem to be nice and powdered inside of that package. We have a couple really teeny tiny dinner napkins. I guess you complain about napkins, they give you more. That's not even enough for a butt wipe. That's a damn shame. Had to dig around in there a little bit. Now, this is not the same brand of coffee I had in the other Mozambique ration, but we do have 2 packs of soluble coffee, and that gives me a little bit of a chub. 2 packs of coffee to go with our powdered skimmed milk, which doesn't turn me on nearly as much as the sweetened condensed did, but shit happens. Then we have a 415 gram can of beef stew. That's actually pretty cool. A little bit of a basic item, but you know, beef stew here in the United States versus other countries can be completely different. I know that firsthand from eating some foreign rations, and the beef stew was absolutely different than what I'm accustomed to here, so it could be a really good good time. I see a fish on that box. You're coming out last, buddy. Then we have 300 grams of chicken with rice and vegetables. That's actually really cool. This definitely is a civilian item they just repacked in here. I'm pretty sure they don't have microwaves out in the field, but hey, so that looks like lunch and dinner to me. And we also have 2 packages of sweet biscuits. These look like the exact same sweet biscuits that were in the Mozambique ration. Those were square. This just looks like a round form of it. They were really yummy. So we have 2 packs of sweet biscuits, which is pretty awesome. And we have a 125 gram pack of salted biscuits. That is a big ass stack of biscuits. That ought to be a hell of a lot of fun to get into. Then we have a pretty crazy looking nougat bar. That is very interesting. That looks like nougat and nuts and all kinds of good stuff in this yellow cellophane wrapper. Kind of hard to get a read on what that's really going to look like when it comes out of the package, but we definitely will find out shortly. Then we have 2 20-gram packages of peach jam. Those look to have survived the journey from Mozambique all the way over here to the US. So that is really cool. We got some peach jam going on. I don't see any of those large containers of the fruit spread that was in the last ration from Mozambique, so that is a real damn shame. And we have 2 4-gram sachets of sugar. And we have 2 water purification tablets. Each one of these is good for 1 liter of water. Not too shabby. And this damn thing is 120 grams of tuna packed in oil. At least it's packed in oil. The one thing that's worrying me, tuna doesn't usually bother me too bad as long as it's not super stanky and fishy. That box right there still has a picture of a fish on it. Why do you need so much goddamn fish products with a ration? I take a bite of everything, and we have an 85-gram can inside of a box of sardines and vegetable oil. This is going to be one nasty experience for this guy. I might have sardines for breakfast or a single bite of a sardine for breakfast and get that shit the hell out of the way. That's kind of nasty. I'm a little disappointed. The Mozambique police ration was a little bit more comprehensive than this one, but at least we get to figure out what's in the Mozambique military ration. But I am going to get some breakfast out onto a tray, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, and welcome back to breakfast. If you're new to the channel, I absolutely hate seafood, so every time I get a ration with seafood in it, I tend to get a little bitchy. So hold on to your underpants, because this ought to get really good. Actually, in the morning, we're just going to do some tuna, which shouldn't be too bad, and we're going to get into some of these, well, basically cookies, but they're sweet biscuits, and some of that peach jam. We got the salted biscuits out, which we will have with the tuna, and then save the rest for later. We're definitely going to have a little fruit juice for breakfast. It's in a sippy box, but I'm going to put it in a glass so you guys can see it. And first thing, before we do anything else, because it's really fucking early here right now, and I absolutely need a serious amount of coffee to wake up my face. So we're going to get both packs of coffee, both packs of sugar, and both packs of the milk into this glass and make up some fucking coffee, because this ration nerd absolutely 100% has to have it. Let's check out this a nice fine coffee from Mozambique. I'm giving it a hell of a head start. I don't know if this is going to be any good or not, but the last coffee I had in a Mozambique ration was absolutely amazing. So what are we rocking in the coffee department? Hopefully this is just as good as the last coffee I had. That actually has a really nice nutty smell. This could bode well for coffee time for this guy. We're going to give it a nice little dump out into the hand here. There is a little bit of crystallization of the caffeine. I'm okay with that. Caffeine is good. That is a nice looking coffee. And it has a really interesting nutty smell to it. I am absolutely looking forward to every little drop of that coffee getting in my face hole. And before we even add the powdered milk and the sugar, we're going to go ahead and hydrate that stuff. Give it a little day in court. Oh, that's nice and dark. That is some good looking coffee. That is a healthy portion of coffee. Hells yes. I'm a wee bit excited about that. Let's get this spoon action in here and give that little coffee a swizz. Let's get that sans cream, sans sugar. It's a little bit of coffee heresy in the morning, but I don't mind giving it a taste raw dog for you guys. That actually has a really nice nutty coffee aroma. I am absolutely looking forward to this sip. Oh, that is nice, rich, really dark roast coffee. That's fucking amazing. Is only going to go up from here, I would imagine. So let's just go right ahead, get both little packs of our skimmed milk action in there, which I'm still just a little teeny tiny butthurt about. I really came into this thinking I was getting 2 large sachets of sweetened condensed milk. I got robbed on that, but apparently if you're in the military, you don't get any sweetened condensed milk. Maybe other menu variations in the Mozambique military rations have sweetened condensed, but this one sure as hell doesn't. And we'll get all 8 grams of sugar rocking in there. Honestly, didn't expect 2 very small packs of powdered milk to turn that coffee that color, but I'm really excited about it. Let's go back in with the cream and the sugar, the holy trifecta of coffee. Let's get that in the face. You know, I gotta be honest with you. It's not sweetened condensed milk, but it is goddamn yummy. That is a good cup of coffee. Even with powdered skimmed milk added, it could use maybe 1 more pack of sugar. This coffee is really strong, but I absolutely love it. This is another high quality cup of coffee from Mozambique, and I'm going to enjoy every last sip of it. It's got such a rich coffee flavor, really nutty, very low in acidity, but the nuttiness of the coffee really kind of punches through, really accentuates the coffee flavor, makes it an excellent, absolutely excellent cup of coffee. 10 out of 10 would do again. This coffee is banging. It smells so good coming up to your face. That is really good. I could just sit there and drink that until it was gone, but on with the review, they say. So let's go ahead and give our little juice box a shake here. What are we having for breakfast? We are having the multi-fruit. No air bubbles or anything in there, which is always a good sign. And why not? Use that snifty little bendy straw to get our 200 mils of multi-fruit juice squirted out into this glass so you guys can see what's going on. What I really liked about the last juice box I got out of a Mozambique ration is it really seems to be a really natural affair. Doesn't seem like there's a ton of sugar added, but it is really tasty. Let's hope that the multi-fruit does not let me down. And speaking of that multi-fruity goodness, let's give that a little sniff and a sip. That really just smells like apple juice, if I'm being honest, but let's give it a taste. There is only one problem with that juice. There is absolutely not enough of it. That is amazingly sweet. It tastes like an extremely sweet apple juice with just a little bit of orange juice mixed in. You can actually see the granular texture of the fruit pulp that's clinging to the side of the glass. That is a high quality juice box. It's absolutely banging. And reading the ingredients on the side of the juice box, the very first ingredient is apple juice, but there is not one single word on there that mentions any added sugar, and that's sweet as hell. So it had to have been made from concentrate juice. There could be a bunch of added sugar in that. Doesn't really matter. That is really tasty. And you only get a small portion anyway, so it's not a huge deal. But this coffee, though, let me tell you about this coffee. That is such a satisfying fucking sip of coffee, I've got to say it. Probably one of the better coffees I've had in any ration. Looking back through my mental Rolodex, both times I've had coffee from Mozambique were absolutely awesome. So we're going to keep breakfast as kind of a light affair, and we're going to get this tuna out on the tray. I'm really looking forward to that. Let's have some tuna together. Oh, it's nice and dark. So much for that nice light or chunk light tuna for this guy, not so much. So let's bring, oh, that smells fishy as hell. Let's bring that up to you so you can see what it looks like in the can. Not exactly the most attractive tuna I've ever seen. Maybe a little bit of coffee might actually help the flavor here, but it is packed in sunflower oil. I'm not a big fan of seed oils. However, the oil will assist with the, it's fish skin. God damn it. With the oil will hopefully help to cut some of that fishy flavor. This might be sort of a short breakfast review. I know I kind of droned on about the coffee, but you got to forgive me. I'm just kind of getting up here. But we get all the tuna out of there, so at least you can see it on the tray. And some of those salty biscuits. I really do like the Jamipsa biscuits. That's who packages this ration for Mozambique, is Jamipsa. So you probably recognize this stack of biscuits from a Spanish ration. Their biscuit stacks are pretty much identical. Let's get a healthy handful of those out on the tray. We're going to save the rest of these for lunch and dinner. And what's going to rescue my face is these sweet biscuits right here. Let's give those guys a sniff. They do have that nice sweet biscuit smell. Let's bring one of these guys up so you can see the imprint on the top of the biscuit. Pretty damn cool. And since we're getting everything out, let's go after this peach jam. Although, most of the time I stand corrected. Most of the time you have to cut them open. This time, not so much. It came right open. That's a pretty decent looking peach jam. It actually smells like peaches, which is really amazing for a jam to have that vibrant of a smell when you open the package. That ought to be amazing. But let me go ahead and get this fishy fucking nastiness out of the way. Least nasty for me. Your mileage may vary. I'm just not a seafood fan. Speaking of them there salty biscuits, take a look at that guy. Had a little cross section. Nice and light, relatively airy, but also still thick enough to actually hold some stuff. So let's get a bite of that on its own. let's get a bite on its own and then we'll talk about it. The best way I can describe these tostada biscuits, it's almost like a hybrid of a hardtack biscuit, a Ritz cracker, and a saltine all at the same time. It's all three of those textures. It's a little bit light and flaky, like a saltine would be. It has a little bit, just an ever so itty bitty, teeny tiny reminiscent flavor of like a Ritz cracker. It's not that bad. It's a little thick, it's a little bready, but it's also nice and snappy and still kind of crunchy. But that's okay. I have a feeling this tuna will absolutely destroy any of the flavor of the biscuit, or at least the biscuit will hopefully help me destroy some of the flavor of the tuna. Let's get a decent portion of tuna on a healthy bunch of biscuits and just chuck that in the face. I'm not a big fan of fish. We already know that. That is a little bit on the fishy side, but the fact that it is packed in this sunflower oil really helps to cut the fishy flavor. So if I was a super hungry soldier, I would be able to eat that and not complain about it too much. To be fair, everybody has their own tastes. Everybody likes different things. I'm not a big seafood fan, and I know also culturally in Mozambique, they may eat a lot of seafood, or this might be a hell of a treat for them. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that I'm not all that happy about it, but it is a hell of a lot of calories and protein that you would absolutely need if you were in the field, so I understand their inclusion of the tuna in the ration. We're going to keep at it for a little bit. This is not making for a really happy breakfast face, but that's only because of my predisposition, and I'm just not eating the big skin having piece of tuna. It's just not happening. Like, I have expanded my food horizons doing this channel and put a lot of seafood in my mouth I normally never would. That's a little beyond the pale for me. No, it's not squid, but it's certainly it's not my cup of tea. A big old hunk of skin can stay right there. I'm not doing it. This is a fucking lot of fish for breakfast. I'm trying to put the maximum amount of tuna on every biscuit just to get rid of it, just to get it down. Oh, I'm really looking forward to the last bite of tuna, and I think this is it right here. We're gonna get the hell rid of that. That's all the seafood this guy can handle for one morning. So let me try not to drip. Oh, damn it. I'll try not to drip that on myself as I bring it up to show it to you guys. That is the last bite of that tuna packed in sunflower oil that's going in this face. I stuffed some more of these biscuits in my face to kind of tone down the tuna flavor. All right, so in that pack of sweet biscuits, it looks like you get 5 of those big round suckers. We'll try to spread some of this jam on there relatively evenly. Definitely nice and thick. Looks like a nice high quality jam. Peach jam ought to be pretty damn yummy. Let's go ahead and get all these nice little cookies set up with some peach jam. It might have been a little ambitious of me to think that I was going to equally divide that container of jam into 1/5 portions, but you know, all we can do is try. So let's take a look at that nice peach jam spread across that sweet biscuit going straight in my face. Oh yeah, that's amazing. Nice soft biscuit, sweet vanilla background flavor. The biscuit itself is not overly sweet. It has a heavy vanilla flavor, which is really nice. That peach jam is a little underwhelming because the crackers are so thick. If I were to do this over again, I would absolutely just eat 2 of these plain and put maybe 3 of them with a big honking thick layer of peach jam on there. But that is exciting, my breakfast face. That is yummy. I tell you what, these biscuits are really good. They're very soft, but they hold their form, which is great. That nice soft texture, super easy to eat in the morning. That's really good. I'm really happy. I have another pack of these cookies and jam for another meal later today. That's absolutely a win. That is literally like having a fresh fruit-topped cookie for breakfast. Really good stuff. And I can't think of a much better way to wash down some peach jam-flavored sweet biscuits than with this really rockin' multi-fruit juice. This stuff is absolutely banging. And the fun thing is that with all that fruit pulp still inside of this juice, it almost reminds you of drinking applesauce, like a really thin, very sweet, ultra vitamin C fortified applesauce. That is really an amazing little juice box of yumminess right there. Well, my friends, that was absolutely breakfast. Off to a little bit of a fishy start today, but I figured I'd take it easy on myself and not try to pound the sardines at breakfast and not turn my stomach for the rest of the absolute fucking day. But those biscuits were absolutely amazing. Salted biscuits did a great job of hiding some of that tuna flavor. Still not eating that black funky skin tuna bullshit. Not happening. I'm going to finish up this coffee because I desperately need it. And then I'll see you back here in a few hours for some lunch. And welcome back to lunch, everybody. We are going to keep it a little bit simple, a little bit light for lunch. I'm going to have that chicken and rice with the vegetables. I'm going to heat that up in my mess cup. I'm going to have some of these salted biscuits. I'm also going to try this nougat bar. In case it's not my cup of tea, I will have the combination of those nice soft sweet biscuits and peach jam for dinner to rectify my face after I stick some sardines in it, that ought to be really fucking horrible. Completely not looking forward to it. And I kind of screwed the pooch by having one of those fruit juices and the coffees for breakfast. So I am just going to bring in Old Faithful here, and we're going to have a little bit of water with our lunch. And if you are not drinking water, you really ought to be. You should be fucking hydrating yourself. Why, might you ask? Because first and foremost, you need fucking water to live. So if you're not hydrating properly, you're really screwing the pooch on that. Second, it'll make you like a goddamn rock star. It'll make you sexier. It'll make you prettier. It'll make you funnier. It'll make you better. It'll make you happier. It'll make your skin so not so fucking wrinkly. It'll help with your breath because you'll wash down that stank breath with some nice clean fresh water. And hydrate, bitches. That is the last reason. Fucking hydrate. We're made of like, I don't know, 70% water. So drink some of that shit. You really need it. Anyway, let me jump off my hobby horse. Start getting the area over here prepared for ye old Esbit stove. So we did get this nice little Esbit stove heating kit, which I'm sure you guys have seen 100 times. This will be 101, mind you. So we're going to get that Esbit stove just kind of smashed together like we're mildly retarded. So there we go. And we're going to go ahead, and I have been overcooking the shit out of everything recently. So what I'm going to do is just get one of these stanky ass fish tablets, which is really an Esbit tablet, but they are super stanky. They usually smell like fish. If they work well, they stink like fish. Let's see if this guy lives up to the hype, and I'm sure it does. Hell yes. That is like a fish market on a summer afternoon. That's fucking disgusting. But we do have some mix wood matches to go with that. Safety matches. That's always a good thing. I don't know what the hell's so safe about a little paper box of matches. So we have some nice little wooden matches with brown tips, which no one has given me a lot of grief recently for not sharing what color the fucking matches are, which actually really surprises me. I used to catch a lot of grief on that. So just in case one of those griefers is out there, they're extraordinarily small match heads, a little brown in color. They're matches. Let's see if they work. Phew. Those match heads need more match heads. Now that we've built a little fire down here in the ration dungeon, I actually have a little bit of water left over from this morning in my mess cup, and I kind of want that there because canned rice has a tendency to be very dry, and I don't want it just sticking to the inside of my mess cup. Look at that. That is a big old lump of rice. That actually has a bit of a curry smell to it. That could be really interesting. Looks like crap in the can, but let's see if we can find a utensil strong enough to dig it out of there. This is nice and moist. Maybe the water was a little premature, but that is okay. It will stop it from sticking to the sides of my mess cup. I was a little butthurt there was no salt and pepper in this ration, so maybe the flavor of this rice will not be diluted by my water idea, which is actually a great idea if you've never done it. And hopefully it's seasoned really well. Problem with rice dishes is they have a tendency to like suck up all the seasoning. Ooh, look at that. Big old pieces of chicken and some vegetables coming out of there, and a curry sauce. That actually smells and looks pretty damn interesting. Big old chicken block just falling out of there. Definitely some turmeric in here, staining the can nice and yellow. That's excellent. And on the fire you go. Let's get some lunch heating up. Meanwhile, we are just going to snatch a handful of these salty biscuits to throw out here to have a bunch. Save the rest of those to go with the beef stew with dinner. And we'll get this nougat bar out of here, see what that has to say for itself. That is pretty interesting. It looks like it has like a caramel coating on it or something like that. That is really neat. I guess this is more of just like a grain nougat, maybe with honey or caramel. Let's check it out. Let's bring it up so you guys can get your eyeballs right up in there. Very interesting looking. When I heard nougat, I expected something creamier, binding everything together. Looks like they're using honey and some kind of syrup. Actually looks pretty good. Maybe I'm a little sad I'm having this for lunch instead of dinner, but we will certainly find out. Let the stirring and poking and prodding begin. I'm just going to go ahead and pause the tape here. You guys have seen me spill things about 6 million times, so I'm going to let this get nice and fucking rip-roaring hot, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, now that we've got some really nice hot chicken and vegetables with rice You can see we're not burning too much on the bottom. The water did help to make it a bit of a creamier affair, which is always really nice, a little easier to eat. And we didn't burn too much, and it'll be a lot easier to clean my mess cup, which is kind of what I was going for. And I'll get most of the food because it won't be stuck to the bottom of my mess cup. So let's get this big yellow mess out onto the tray. It smells really good though. Definitely a pretty strong smell of curry. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I like me some good curry flavor. And unlike some other mains that I've heated up in this mess cup, I have a pretty bare minimum of stuff stuck to the bottom of it, which will be a lot easier for me to clean. It means I'm actually getting more of the food, which is always a positive thing. And future Ration Nerd is going to thank me when I'm trying to scrub this thing out if I put a little bit of water in there just to kind of start the process of breaking down that burnt shit. All right, well, here we go with a nice, simple but hearty looking lunch, I have to say. Right off the bat, I see a nice hunk of onion in there. There are little baby bits of carrots in here. There are also what looks like either squash or zucchini. Maybe a couple of spinach leaves are rolling around in here. Aside from that, I don't see much else in the vegetable department. There are some relatively decent sized pieces of chicken in here. Not a ton by any stretch of the imagination. Probably about 3 ounces, maybe, if you're lucky, of chicken. But this is still a pretty healthy looking main. Let's go ahead and get a little bite of everybody, at least try to. Bring that up to your face so you can see what I'm getting ready to stick in my face. That actually doesn't look great, but it smells amazing. Let's go ahead and get the first bite of that chicken and vegetables with rice. And that has a really nice flavor of curry. Again, with this ration not having any salt and pepper, this would have been the absolute perfect dish to have a little bit of black pepper. Actually, I'm lying to you. A bunch of black pepper and just a little bit of salt would make this outstanding. The rice is well cooked. It's a very oddball kind of grain of rice, almost like rice nuggets instead of grains of rice. That's completely okay by me though. The curry taste is really nice. The water may have dulled the flavor ever so slightly, but not by much. This has a really nice curry flavor. Very mild though, nothing spicy about it. It is actually a really satisfying, yummy, warm rice dish. Almost kind of like a side dish more than a main, but at least we have something nice and warm and yummy for lunch, I guess. This ration really, absolutely would have benefited from just a little bit of salt and pepper, guys. Like, help your soldiers out. This mild curry flavor is very pleasing, and I have to imagine this is going to be a relatively filling meal, but it could be a little bit more interesting. It's still damn yummy though. Well, you know, we have to try it on a cracker. The crackers are a little bland, not heavily salted, so they're not going to help, but they are going to be a nice texture boost to this. Get a nice little crunch going on. And those biscuits and this chicken and rice absolutely were made for each other. It doesn't do much as far as the flavor goes, but that bit of crunchy texture mixed in with this chicken and rice was absolutely what it needed. I mean, yes, it really could use some pepper, but damn, that is a drastic improvement. Let's try to single out a piece of this chicken, see what we have going on in the bird department, see if we can flip it over, expose a little bit of the meaty texture, and bring that up to you guys to take a peek at before we nom on a big old piece of chicken all by its lonesome. And that chicken is actually really good. A little bit on the tough side for a canned dish, but you know what that tells me? It's very likely just raw chicken they put in here, and the canning process slightly overcooked it. That's completely fine by me, just simply because that chicken had a really great natural flavor that you don't find here in the States. All the store-bought chicken doesn't really taste like chicken anymore, at least not what I remember when I was a kid. Just kind of like a blank. Whatever you put on the chicken is what it tastes like. I don't want to eat all the biscuits with lunch, but I'm kind of feeling like I could just sit here and smash the rest of this with the remainder of my biscuits and be pretty damn happy about it. But if the beef stew is really boring, I'd be a sad panda, so I think we'll just roll with the rest of the biscuits that we have and save the rest for dinner. This lunch has been a lot of fun to get into. A little bit bland. Not the most interesting thing I've ever had, but you know what? It's pretty damn wholesome. It's kind of like having something that somebody's grandma would make for you, or maybe even your own grandmother if you still have one of those. But at home, this would probably be a lot more flavorful and a lot more spicy. The canning process really does mess up a lot of the seasoning that goes into canned items. You have to over-season the hell out of them if they have rice or beans or noodles in them, because the canning process just kind of forces a lot of that flavor to cook the rice, which is kind of crazy, but it's the way it works. With that crunchy biscuit, that is just not bad. Not bad at all. I'm actually a little surprised. Something this plain and simple really was just rescued by the biscuits. Adding some crunch to that was absolutely what it needed. And that's the last bite of this lunch main going in my face. And this right here is some salted biscuits for the win. Spoon drop. And now we're going to get into this nougat bar, which is kind of a new one for me. Still nice and soft. Let's give you guys a cross section of that nougat bar. Check that thing out. Kind of almost dark, like there's a little bit of molasses in there. Let's get a bite of it and let's figure it out. That is really yummy ration item. I imagine this wouldn't last very long outside of its expiration date, but that's got a lot of peanuts, soy crisps in there. It does definitely have a touch of honey. The syrup that's binding everything together. Oops. The syrup that is binding everything together is absolutely yummy. This is a quality little ration item. A little sad I didn't have it for dinner, but you never know what you're getting into. So lunchtime nougat bar it is. This is very reminiscent of like what would be on the inside of like a payday bar, like all the peanuts and caramel that would normally live inside. I think that's a payday bar. I'm not big into candy bars, so if you covered this with chocolate, it would be an amazing candy bar. I know that probably sounds very American of me, but sorry, that's where I'm from. Chewy, not overly sweet, nice savory taste to the peanuts, nice and crunchy. This thing is awesome. All ooey and gooey and sticky. All right, my friends, that was lunch. It was pretty decent. With the biscuits, that main was pretty damn good. Heated up really nice in my mess cup. That nougat bar was rocking, and water, it's fucking good for you. I'll see you guys in a few hours where we'll get into some dinner. All right, my friends, welcome back to dinner, and it's that magic time. It's fucking sardine time, which I'm not real happy about. We've got those biscuits and or cookies. I really think they're more like cookies than biscuits, but whatever. We have the biscuits and that peach jam, which is awesome. We have a big old can of beef stew. We have the remainder of our crackers, and we have this a bitchin' juice box of peach nectar, which I can't wait to crack into. First thing we gotta do is get our stove up and running, and we'll use these itty bitty, we'll move these matches out of the way before I catch the ration table on fire, because that is a real, actual, factual possibility here in Ration Nerd Land. It's probably a really piss poor idea to catch your own ration table on fire, but we'll keep fucking around until we find out. These matches kind of blow, but that's okay. At least we got something going on here. Get a little beef stew. Actually, the only reason I even brought you guys in on this piece is because I wanted you to see what the stew looked like coming out of the can. So let's go ahead and get that happening here. Let's see what that beef stew is all about. No splashy, which is a good thing. That doesn't look like any beef stew I've ever had. That looks more like a tomato-based vegetable soup. That's what I was saying about when you get different items like beef stew from other countries. It could be completely different than what you're accustomed to. I'm not even going to fuck with that. That's just going to make a huge mess. Oh, that's going to make a huge mess. I'll bring that up to you so you can see that oil swirling around at the top of the can. That tomato action going on. Or what looked like tomatoes. Now that it's out of the can, it looks a bit more brown. In the can, it really looked like a tomato base. I guess we'll find out after we sink our face into it. Meanwhile, while that's heating up and the fumes are pouring off, don't worry, I do have an exhaust fan to suck those fumes out of here. We'll get these biscuits opened up, and we'll get the rest of those salted biscuits out on the tray. These are actually really good. I like them a lot. We'll set the jam off to the side. We know what that's all about. I'm just going to get it out and slather it on some of those biscuits and get those staged up. But in the meantime, I guess whilst we're heating up the beef stew, I'll just abuse my face with some sardines. This ought to be the worst. I mean, seafood is one thing. Squid was really horrible. Sardines are usually super nasty, fishy, and I'm not going to love this in any way, shape, or form. I was kind of hoping this can would be all dented and messed up and I could just walk away from it like, oh no, I should just walk away from it right now, like, oh no, because that is not a very pleasing sight to me. That looks like a fucking horror movie as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead and feast your eyes on that little can of nastiness right there. I was gonna do the fucking but there's no in my heart right now. It's not there. So the fishy oil, the little fishies all out of the, just came so nice out of the can. If you're into sardines, I mean, to me they look like shit, but to you that might look really amazing if you really like sardines. And Jamipsa usually puts a lot of really excellent seafood items in cans, in rations, so for you this might be a delicacy. For me, it is a fucking food challenge, is exactly what that is right there. 2 seafood items in one ration. It's almost like the ration gods are not smiling on me today. Actually, you know what? I suppose they are. To be fair, this ration did get opened by customs, and they didn't actually pilfer anything. I have checked the content list, and everything that was supposed to be in this ration was inside this ration. So they opened it, looked at it, said, there's beef in there. I guess that's kind of okay. Maybe it's because I paid the import duties on it ahead of time, but they still opened my damn ration, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. And we'll get our juice squirted out into ye old glass, because this peach nectar is going to be awesome. I had it in the other Mozambique ration, and it was fucking amazing, if I'm being 100% honest, and I am. So while that stew is heating up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to crack right into the sardines, and I'm going to get this shit over with as fast as humanly possible. How am I going to bring that up to the camera without wearing sardine juice on my face? I'm not 100% sure. We're going to have to co-op this poor napkin into getting a fishy sauce all over it, because I really don't want it on my hands, guys. I really don't love fish, and this is really nasty. So I'm going to go ahead and spear one of these and bring it up to you so you can see what's going on, but I am going to need the assistance of that there napkin. Uh-oh. Sounds like the beef stew is cooking off over there, but there is your sardine. That's a nice large sardine, I suppose, question mark. I'm not a big seafood lover. I'm going to leave that out of the oil for the time being. That poor napkin, all soiled and nasty. Better get in here and stir this beef stew before I make an absolute mess. One thing I can say, this ration could absolutely use a pack of tissues. The Mozambique police ration was certainly more comprehensive than this one was, and there are no tissues in here, which is a real bitch. All right, I guess there's nothing else for it. I got maybe one, maybe two bites of this fucking filthy creature here, so I'm going to go at it from the tail, because that hole in the end of that is really absolutely not appetizing. I know it's just where the head and the guts used to be, but I don't want anything to do with it, if I'm being honest. So, fucking silvery skin shit. This is so nasty. How do you people eat this shit? Bite number one. If I get to bite number two, it'll be fucking amazing, but let's go for bite number one. Oh, that's so filthy. Oh, do I even want to swallow that? It's so fishy. It's like tuna to the 30th power. Oh, it's so foul. Ultra fishy, a little salty. Oh, God, I just swallowed it. It made me want to hurl. It's very, very salty. Ultra fishy. If you love seafood and you love fish, that is probably for you. If you're like me and can't stand the taste of seafood, stay the fuck away from the sardines. Seriously, they're absolutely foul. I needed that biscuit. Oh my goodness. I am completely not sure how anybody who even does enjoy seafood likes that. That's just kind of filthy. I'm going to give you guys one more bite because I love you, not because I love this fucking sardine. I am just going to take another bite of it to say that I did, so I've given it its fair day in court, and I'm going to dip it back in the oil. That was a bad idea. I'm going to smash this in between two crackers, because I think that, it's like shiny and fucking silver. That is just absolutely disgusting. Just, it's squeezing out from in between the cracker. God damn it. Okay, whatever. Ration Nerd eats things he doesn't really like. Here we go with bite number two of the sardines, just so I can say that I did it, in between a couple of these really awesome tostadas, which I'm wasting putting this nasty fish on, but down the hatch, question mark? I mean, the crackers help. They definitely help. But it's still just this background nasty fish flavor. Oh, so disgusting. Absolutely filthy. I absolutely hate it. Your mileage may vary, but just absolutely not. That's the last bite of that shit we're taking. Let's get this, while I'm trying to get the rest of this sardine down my face, let me go ahead and get this stew out onto the tray. That heated up really well. I used 2 Esbit tablets on that because I wanted to get this nice and piping hot. Really didn't get any burn inside of the mess cup, which is absolutely awesome. And I'm absolutely going to need some of this peach puree, or this peach drink, to solve the nastiness that's left over in my face from those fucking sardines. So I'm going to go ahead and get a big old sip of this peach puree. That is absolutely amazing. Great peach flavor, but also definitely an undertone of apple juice, really high citric acid in this. You're going to get your vitamin C. A nice sweet boost of sugar, which is absolutely added to this stuff. It's great though. You could probably add about half as much water as there is fruit puree and still have a really yummy drink. I don't want to dilute it because I can drink as much water as I want, but if you were in the field and you just wanted something that was tasty that you could chug and really hydrate with, that would be excellent mixed with a little bit of water. We're going to leave it as is is right now. It's kind of like a drinkable dessert. Absolutely amazing. Let's get ourselves into this beef stew over here. It's more like beef soup. It doesn't have a stew consistency. It still almost looks like it has a tomato base, but we have potatoes, peas, carrots, not seeing anything else floating around in here. A little bit of seasoning floating in there, which is always a good sign. And then we have a couple of large and in charge pieces of beef. This is probably just about a 2-ounce portion of beef. Pretty small, all things considered, but well, maybe 2.5, 3 ounces total. You do get a whole lot of seafood in here, so I can't say you're lacking in the protein department, because you're certainly not, as long as you can eat it. That is a whole lot of fat and a whole lot of protein and all the healthy benefits of fish oil. So if you're into that, good on you. But for me, that's just going to sit there and look nasty while I concentrate on this beef stew. So let's grab a little bit of the veggies. We do have a smaller piece of beef floating around over here. We're going to go ahead and try to get this nuclear hot beef stew up to you without wearing it. So let's this is going to be fun. Let's bring this up to you guys so you can see the first bite of that beef stew going in my face. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't smell like much, which is kind of strange. Let's give it a taste. That is really crazy hot. Damn near burned my tongue off. That's what I get for heating it up with an Esbit stove. That definitely has a tomato base, so it's more like almost like a minestrone than it is a beef stew, at least what I'm accustomed to. I think what I'm going to do, since I have a bunch of those biscuits left over, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some good old-fashioned ration thickener to this, what is essentially like a beef vegetable soup. So apparently in Mozambique, beef stew is not thick and brown, like has a thick brown gravy to it or a thick brown sauce or soup base, whatever you want to call it. Almost like a minestrone or a beef vegetable. It probably would have been nice if they would have added some pasta to this just to kind of soak up some of that moisture, but they did not. So this is going to be nice and hydrating, but we're going to biscuit the hell out of it, thicken it up real nice. That may have been what they intended in the first place. And maybe wait until this cools down about 20 or 30 degrees so I'm not blistering the end of my tongue every time I stick this in my face. You know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm not eating any more fish, so all of the tostados are going in the stew. There's almost not enough room for them, but thankfully, there's just enough room to get the rest of this biscuit dust in there and thicken up this beef soup quite a bit. All right, now that we're done making a cracker dusty mess, and that's had just a minute to let those biscuits soak up some of that sauce, or more like broth. That's not really sauce, but I like saying sauce because it's fun. Let's try that with a bunch of biscuits all crunched up in there. The good thing is, adding all these biscuits did not rob it of any flavor. Not to say this is like a flavor explosion in your face. It's not. It's very basic. It essentially tastes like a beef vegetable soup. It really could use some seasoning. Anything, whether it be salt, pepper, hot sauce, something to liven this up and make it a bit more interesting. But it is hearty, wholesome. Let's get some of that beef almost by itself and try that beef out. That piece of beef is actually really dark, really well cooked. It's a lot tougher than you would expect for a piece of meat that was in a stew. It has a really stringy chew to it, almost like it's not beef, but it probably is. Either way, it's pretty decent. It has a good flavor. Texture is a little rough, but it is just essentially a can of beef vegetable soup. I guess I should not expect as much from it, but hey, when I do these reviews, I'm thinking about it from the point of view of a soldier. If you actually have time to sit down and heat this up in a mess cup, get it nice and hot, and enjoy it, it should be enjoyable for every soldier. Whether they're here in the United States or over in Mozambique, you're serving your country, you deserve a hot meal. Not only do you deserve a hot meal, you deserve a tasty hot meal, because your job pretty much sucks. If you were going to eat this right out of your mess cup, it wouldn't be that big of a deal that the broth is so thin. But eating it out of the tray, the biscuits crunched up in here are really making it a hell of a lot easier to eat. And in all fairness, even if I was eating this right out of the mess cup, I still would have chucked these biscuits in here. When I saw beef stew, I was in the mood for beef stew, and this just completely isn't it. Where's the salt and pepper at? I'm wearing the shit out of that bite. That really sucks. Half of that bite just went down the front of my shirt. Like a fucking animal when I sit at this table. There is a certain bias that you have, and when you're doing ration reviews and you're eating a lot of different rations from different countries, you get a ration that's really good. The next review, if you get something that's kind of mediocre, you're really hard on it. This one is being judged on the first Mozambique ration. And because this ration didn't have the same amount of accessories, it really makes me wonder why. Like, why make the military guys suffer and treat the police. I mean, look, the police got a condom. The military guys didn't even get their Jimmy hat. I think they got robbed. So whatever it is that the military does versus what the police do, the police obviously need a Jimmy hat. The military, not so much. I guess it's penetrate at your own risk, sans Jimmy hat. That's a real shame. Everybody needs a Jimmy hat now and again. So the point is, I might be a little bummed about the contents of this ration. I was really expecting something very similar, if not better, than the police ration. It seems this ration is close to the weight and close to the calories of the police ration. The police ration was just put together a hell of a lot better. And as far as production date, they're pretty close together, only a couple of years apart. So it seems like the military guys are just getting screwed. So if you happen to want to move to Mozambique, don't join the military, become a police officer. You'll get way better food. I mean, this 415 gram can of soup comes in at around 600 calories, which is kind of hard to believe, but that is what the information on the can says. 415 grams of anything is nothing to shake a stick at, and this is certainly very filling, especially when you add in the biscuits. It's just not all that interesting. And to qualify that, by not interesting, I don't mean horrible, and certainly not everything has to be a culinary delight that goes in a military ration, or any ration for that matter. It's just extraordinarily plain. Maybe you're trying to suit a whole bunch of palates, but that's why you put salt, pepper, hot sauce, accoutrements like that in a ration to take care of everybody's taste buds, and that's kind of important. You want the guys to really want to eat this food so they get all the calories that they need to soldier on for you. And this is just really bland and plain. Speaking of bland and plain, that is the last bite of the bland, plain beef soup or beef stew, whatever you want to call it, in the face. And we'll grab those last little bit of peas out of there. And this is a spoon drop. Some of this peach yumminess. That'll definitely make you jolly as shit. Well, you guys have seen these sweet biscuits and the peach jam, so I'm not going to belabor the point and sit here and eat every one of them with you. What I am going to say is that these biscuits are nice and soft. This peach jam is This peach jam is absolutely amazing. The two combined are a great flavor combination. I'm going to take a little bit of my own advice, and I'm going to go a little heavier on the jam. And if I only have a few of them with the jam on it, well, then so be it. And the jam deserves these biscuits, and the biscuits abso-fucking-lutely deserve the jam. Well, my friends, that was dinner. Not exactly the most interesting thing I've ever had out on the ration table, and those sardines, they're fucking nasty. But I can say that I'm full. I'm certainly no longer hungry. After all those biscuits and that big-ass 400-gram can of beef stew, I'm a full boy. So thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd, where today we got into this Armed Forces of Mozambique military ration. This thing was good all the way up until March 2026, and I can say that all items were good, as in nothing was spoiled. That tuna was hurting a little bit. Those sardines were absolutely filthy. The other items were just kind of okay. Nothing spectacular in here except for the biscuits and jam, and those fruit purees were absolutely awesome. The coffee was banging. Didn't get sweetened condensed milk. Was a little pissed about that. Considering the amount of calories that are in this box, it'll certainly absolutely feed you for a day, but you may not be all that happy about it because some of the items in this box are kind of bland and just kind of ho-hum. Unless you're a big sardine eater, in which case that could be the highlight of your day. If that's you, I think you might have some issues. I don't see how anybody puts that shit in their face. Personally, I feel like I need a mouth shower because that shit was nasty. But anyway, this was a lot of fun. It was even better that you decided to join me, and I greatly appreciate that. Much love to all my men and women in the military out there, whether you are currently serving or retired, all that good shit. Seriously, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you. That's why I bitch about rations so much, not because I'm an asshole. Well, I'm an asshole, but because I'm looking out for the soldier in my own weird way. Yes, I would prefer that every ration was a culinary delight for me, but realistically, it really matters to the soldiers that have to eat these things on a regular basis. A bunch of bland food is not all that, and when you have had a really rough, hard day of doing whatever the hell it is you're doing for your country's military, you deserve some good goddamn food. That's all I'm trying to say. And if you're trying to say it, you know what you could do for this guy? You could absolutely hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and talk to me in the chat. It's always a great time to hear from you guys. But it's that magic time of the video. You know what time it is. It's time for me to say, if you can find something cooler than this Mozambique Armed Forces 24-hour military ration to put in your face hole, you absolutely know what to do, and if you don't, I'm about to tell you. Ooh, I took out like 3 things with that. Eat them up.
Man, I got something I gotta be getting off my chest, y'all. Don't you love when some of these motivational people, like if you work at a big company or something like that, they get these people to come in and talk to you about motivation and be like, look, your hard work and lack of personal life is the cost of entry to making a shit ton of money. And like, if you say these magic words to people, things will automatically come to you, and like all this wealth will cascade on you. You just gotta give up your whole fucking life and like work your ass into the dirt for like 16 hours a day, and then after that, like when you're in your 60s, then you get to retire and enjoy yourself. Bitches, I'm trying to enjoy myself now. Like, what am I going to be doing when I'm 60 years old? Like, I know 60 might be the new 50, but you're still fucking 60 years old. I mean, most of us ain't going to be out there like, walking the whole Great Wall of China or climbing a fucking mountain or some shit like that. You do that shit when you're young. So I'm not really sure if I agree with all this bullshit, or people be like, work, more, more money, and then what? And then you have a bunch of money and you die. And then after you die, what happens? Some days, I think if I hear the word value one more time, I might freak the fuck out and split somebody's head open with my hand, like a big karate chopping, head smashing, like fuck your value, bitch, kapow, and then just fuck somebody up. Oh, and Ration Nerd had this little note over here written down for me to read out to you guys. If you're one of my YouTube channel members, or you're one of my Patreon channel members, and you don't see your name at the end of this video, all you got to do is reach out to Ration Nerd and tell him, like, hey, numbnuts, my name ain't at the end of the video, but I'm on your Patreon channel or I'm on your YouTube channel, and then he will fix that shit like right away. So if you happen to be one of them people and you know who you are, because you're gonna be the first name you saw up in this bitch, like, I'm real sorry. I mean, Ration Nerd says he's real sorry about missing your name on that one. And if y'all haven't figured it out by now, Ration Nerd be working a lot and that shit really sucks. So he's like absent-minded sometimes. He really loves doing this shit, but sometimes it's just a lot, y'all. It can just be a lot. But anyway, yeah, peace out, bitches.